And I think it's very common for us where we become multi-borrowers. Maybe you can just say a word to us, whether we can be able to. Some of us are struggling, where I've borrowed here, I borrow here, I bury here, I borrow here, I bury here, you see? It is a common issue within us. Number two, assuming I have land somewhere, and I'm thinking, can I borrow a loan to build maybe some rentals? I'm torn between putting this money that I can get into a money market and probably earn something, or build that home that probably I'll start generating income way later. So I'm torn between.
I see.
Do I make a decision?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something we call good debt and bad
Debt.
bad debt.
Yeah.
What is bad debt? Bad debt is you borrow at 15% and you earn less than where you put that money, you earn less than 15%.
Yeah.
So if you go buy a car, it is definitely a bad debt, isn't it? Eh? If you go invest in a money market that is earning 10%, it's still a bad debt, isn't it? Eh?
Yes.
So that is a bad debt. What is a good debt? What do wealthy people do? Wealthy people, they borrow money at the lowest pricing possible. That's why they are very good negotiators. And then they invest in something that generates several times what they are making. So those two questions are actually one. We said, if you follow the bee, you will find the honey. Cash flows. So if you are borrowing to pay other borrowings, that is just musical chair, and one of these days it's going to come to an end. And it is good that you acknowledge that it's a crisis. It may not look like a crisis, but it is already a crisis. The reason why we were having a challenge in Kenya last year, for the first time in my short work life experience as an investment professional, where we were doubting that whether the government of Kenya can actually pay debt, was because of exactly that. We are borrowing to pay other debts.
Yeah.
So we are in a debt trap, and our debt is only growing. But we don't have the other side of the debt, which is the asset that offsets the debt. So remember, debt leads to cash outflow. Asset leads to cash. So if you take the cash inflow minus the cash outflow, you should have a net cash inflow. So if you have whatever decision you are making and you find it has and debt is involved, now focus on net cash inflow. If your net cash is outflow, then you know it's not a good investment decision. So if I am going to build a home or a house on a property, or because in the name of developing, but I could have put that money in money market fund and earned higher cash flow than this thing, then I'd rather still go with what? Money market. Because what I do with the money market eventually will fund developing the land. But if you go with this land because there's a sentimental attachment, and because you just feel I need to develop it, and you know, Chris Kirobi used to say it is circles that want to point fingers. This is my property, that's my property. You know, it's a cultural issue. You get it? But what will matter 20 years for all of us, and I want all of you to remember this, is how much cash flows will be coming into your bank account every month. And also, I'm not using the word cash. I'm using cash flow. It must be flowing in. You use it, another comes in, another comes in, another comes in. That is what will determine the quality of our retirement and our after years, 20 years from today. And I hope all of you we'll be firm enough to make the right decision to start now, today.
Thank you. Nancy, finally?
Finally, Nancy shows up. Investing in foreign currency. Again, currency is for exchanging, isn't it? Eh? So we as investment professionals, we really don't consider currency as a way of making money. There are people who are doing forex trading.
Yes.
Okay? But I'll tell you this. All the people who do forex trading depend on something called algorithm. And this algorithm observes the behavior of the currencies over a period of time, and they're like, okay, if this is the behavior of this currency, I can make money here, I can come in here and exit here and make money. Okay? But all the forex traders I have ever followed have ended up with one thing all the time. At one day they wake up and the algorithm fails because there are 2,000 variables that change every day. No, not every day, every minute, affecting that currency. So there is no human capability to predict what will happen tomorrow with a currency. So your algorithm may be working today, but for sure, the day of reckoning is also coming. Your algorithm you'll wake up one day and the world has changed. When Ukraine and Russia went into war, algorithms failed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So all the global macro events that are happening, they are affecting the currencies. Even we as Kenyans here, doing our local business here, we are being affected by what is happening in the US, whether we like it or not. So for me, I would say, if you are still struggling with paycheck, freedom from paycheck, I would never advise to do experimenting with forex trading. First of all, you need to secure your flow. That if this job is taken away from you, you will still have your dignity, with a roof on top of your head, food on the table, and nice clothing. And we can still meet on the streets and you're smiling. For me, that is what you need to protect, your dignity.
Thank you. Thank you. So I hope I got close. Very last one. Very time. Last one now. Will.
Hi.
Thank you again for coming to talk to us. So if I had started multiple streams of income and I'm already investing 10% from my paycheck, what would you advise with the extra money that comes through the multiple streams of income? Because obviously, assuming it will increase in time.
The goal is what? Financial freedom. When you get to do what you love to do every single day of the year, because your cash flows are coming into your bank account, whether you have a job or not, whether you show up or not, you get, eh? So if you have multiple streams of income, but you still have not reached that financial freedom, continue. That is your opportunity to accelerate your journey to financial freedom. Bring it forward to 5 years. Bring it forward to 3 years. If you can get there, the sooner you get there, the better. Because there are other things I've not been able to speak about. And I'll just touch on it a little bit. When you get to that place where you completely break your relationship with a paycheck, yeah, you still have another risk of what I call the big disruptors of life. If someone very close to you gets sick, or yourself, you will dip your fingers into this portfolio of 4.6 million that you've been working hard towards, yeah, and channel it to medical emergency. Meaning you go back to depending on paycheck. So maybe next time if I'll ever be invited, I will come and talk about that. How to ring fence your lifestyle portfolio. But if you have saving capacity, put as much cash flow there as possible. The goal is not just to get 50,000 if you earn 50,000. Double it. I keep saying, if only I started doing this from the first paycheck I got, maybe I'd be getting cash flows 5 million a month without me showing up at work. I'd still be doing what I'm doing, but I'll be a much happier person than what you're seeing today. Right? And that's what we all want. I've answered your question?